Mm.
Good afternoon. This is Cesar Delgado from Back Roads of Illinois podcast with Dr. Frank, MUC Davis in California.
I don't do research on manure from grazing animals. I do research on manure from animals housed in feedlots and on dairies, where the manure can be collected and treated. Under grazing conditions, on a ranch, the manure is not collected, but it's dropped off by the animals. It's falling onto the floor and then taken on by dung beetles, by other insects, and eventually incorporated into the soil, where it serves as fertilizer. This manure nutrient adds richness to the soil and increases soil carbon sequestration, meaning the process by which soils trap carbon for a long time.
What is your opinion on regenerative agriculture for the future for in the middle of the country?
I think that regenerative agriculture has an important role to play because it supports soil health and it increases soil carbon sequestration. The challenge at this point is that much of the effects of regenerative agriculture require more research and documentation because there's significant criticism by those who don't believe in regenerative agriculture. I do believe that, for example, rotational grazing of cattle, which simulates the grazing pressure of bison 150, 200 years ago in large numbers, but with high intensity, and then the animals moving on from one place to another, that simulating that with livestock is highly advantageous because we are increasing soil microbial activity, we're increasing soil carbon sequestration, and we are increasing pasture growth and soil quality overall. So I'm very supportive of regenerative agriculture.
That's true. Would you like to go to say about cover crop and microbes for the farmers?
So if you do not use cover crops and you leave the soil uncovered for parts of the year, then there's the risk of losing fertile soil to the elements. You all remember the Dust Bowl, well, not in person, but from our history lessons, where enormous amounts of soil was picked up by strong winds and transported from the Midwest to other places. We do want to prevent that. Soil losses on the one side, but we also want to make sure that nutrients and that nutrients are stored and retained in our soils, and that we optimize the soil microbial properties. Now, soil science is not my forte. Soil science is not my area of expertise. I'm an air quality specialist, but I know that minimum tillage, no tillage system, improved cover crop systems are improving soil health and make us treat this very important resource more gently.
For the future?
A cover crop will help retain carbon in the soil and prevent it from going back into the atmosphere. We want to assist our soils in storing carbon, and we want to keep that carbon in the soil and not have it go back into the atmosphere. Cover cropping can help us get to this point. The more we can limit tillage, and particularly deep plowing, the more carbon will remain in our soils and the healthier our soils will become. And that has a profound impact on soil carbon sequestration and our effort in minimizing the impact of livestock systems on our climate.
Is there anything would you like to go to say about cattle manure to the Green Deal people in Washington, D.C.?
Well, cattle manure is an important part of sustainable agriculture, and not just sustainable animal agriculture, but sustainable agriculture, because plants that we eat, crops that we grow, require nutrients, and there are only two sources of nutrients for those crops: either chemical fertilizers, and they are quite energy intensive to being produced, and organic fertilizers, and these are almost without exception animal manure. We need animal manure in order to fertilize our crops, and currently approximately 50% of all fertilizers applied here in the United States and globally stem from animal manures. So I would encourage people to view manure as what it is, a resource, providing nutrients to crops, as well as a potential source of energy, because manure still contains a lot of the energy that the feed that the animals consumed had inside. And that energy can be extracted. Here in California, for example, we are covering the animal manure storages with plastic. We are trapping the biogas that normally would go into the air. And 60%, 60, of that biogas is methane. And methane is really a gas that is pure energy. By trapping it, we can convert this methane gas into vehicle fuel. So we reduce emissions on the farm, and we are producing a fuel type for our vehicle fleet. So that's a win-win. And my work, our work here at UC Davis, is to help farmers and society understand that animal manure is not waste. It is a very valuable resource that's only waste if we don't manage it. And it's only a liability if we don't manage it. If we do manage it well, it becomes an asset.
This is Dr. Frank M. from UC Davis in California. You've been listening to Back Roads of Illinois. I am Cesar Delgado. I am your host today. I would truly appreciate you to subscribe to my podcast on YouTube. Thanks for listening to Back Roads of Illinois podcast. Have a great day. Thanks.